Going back to commercial real estate, investing in industrial, just as a whole, what advice would you give to somebody, since you've been in it for so long and obviously have a portfolio and stuff? What advice would you give to somebody who's brand new and they want to buy the first commercial real estate deal? What would you tell them to do?
Be prepared to be very, very patient. And there's a temptation, especially in this get rich culture that we're inundated with all these gurus trying to teach people things on how to get rich quick and buy your first property in 6 months and replace your income in 5 years. In that culture that we're in, try to resist that and be the antithesis of get rich quick. And to do that, it might take 5 years before you find a property that actually makes sense for you. And you're in a position to buy it without having unnecessary stress. I think that's the biggest recommendation that I would give is be patient and use that time where you're being patient to flush out a number of things. Make sure you're an expert in industrial real estate. You should know everything about it, what tenants want, what tenants don't want, what's functional obsolescence, what could be an issue. Understand your local market so that you know sales, you know lease transactions, you know market comps, you know who's in the market, who's moving. You know everything about that market, so you're a certified expert in your local market, and you know everything about industrial real estate as an asset class. You give yourself enough time, buy that first property right, because the first one sets a tone for the trajectory of your investing career. Be very patient, be very selective. Make sure you buy a property after you're an expert in everything, and be prepared to hold it for 20 years. I think you win. Like I don't see many people that follow that and don't win. If you are trying to get into it quicker, find somebody in your local market that you can partner with, find an expert that's already done it. Perhaps you just become the capital and you try to learn everything from them, and it becomes an exercise in osmosis where you're trying to take all their information in exchange for you giving something to them. And that can work as well. There's trade-offs with that. So there's people that have probably done well by it. I can't. All I can speak about is I worked in this industry for almost 10 years before I bought my first property. So that's what's worked for me. And it's been 10 plus years since, and I've paid off probably close to half the mortgage at this point. And on that one single property, not to mention all the ones that we bought since. So that's what's worked for me. If people have other strategies and they want to pursue it, just really focus. My biggest thing as an investor is downside risk is your most important thing that you need to identify and control, because it's nice to have pro formas that say, well, if everything goes right for the next 10 years, here's what our IRR is going to be, and here's how much money we're going to make. That's great, but none of us have any idea what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone 10 years from now. So whatever route you go, whether it's trying to partner with somebody or being a limited partner or doing it yourself, identify your downside risk first. Figure out what your downside risk is, and then start going through the process of trying to extrapolate that into the future. But I really think that, circling back, be an expert in what industrial real estate is. Be an expert in your local market. Know exactly what's going on. Buy a right property where you're mitigating your downside risk and have a long-term outlook. I don't know. That's as good of a recipe for success as I can think of.
Yeah.